The abduction. The Montana wilderness. The morning mist clung to the pine trees like ghostly fingers as Marcus Rivera adjusted his tactical vest and checked his gear one final time. 23 years of military service had taught him that preparation was the difference between coming home and being shipped back in a box. Now, as a civilian survival instructor, he applied that same principle to keeping corporate executives and weekend warriors alive in the wilderness. "Remember, people," Marcus called out to his group of 12 trainees, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had faced real danger. "Nature doesn't care about your stock portfolio or your college degree. Out here, she's the boss, and she's not interested in negotiating." The group consisted of the usual mix: ambitious young professionals looking to add wilderness survival to their resumes, a few genuine outdoor enthusiasts, and one or two who clearly wondered why they'd signed up for a week in the Montana backcountry. Marcus had seen them all before. The instructor's creed. "First rule of survival," Marcus continued, leading them deeper into the forest, "is respect your environment. Second rule, always have an exit strategy. Third rule, never, ever assume you're the apex predator." He paused beside a massive Douglas fir, its trunk scarred by bear claws. "This tree has been here for over 200 years. It survived fires, storms, droughts, and predators. You know why? Because it adapted. It learned. It endured." Marcus ran his fingers along the deep gouges in the bark. "The bear that made these marks weighed about 600 pounds. He could crush your skull with one swipe. But he's not the real danger out here. The real danger is overconfidence. The moment you think you understand the wilderness, it will humble you." The first sign. As they moved through the dense undergrowth, Marcus noticed something that made his combat instincts prickle. The forest had gone quiet. No bird calls, no rustle of small animals, even the insects seemed to have vanished. In his experience, nature only went silent for two reasons: a major predator was nearby, or something unnatural was happening. "Hold up," he whispered, raising his hand. The group stopped, some looking annoyed at the interruption, others picking up on his tension. Marcus scanned the tree-line, his eyes searching for movement, his ears straining for any sound. That's when he saw it, a faint shimmer in the air, like heat waves rising from hot asphalt, but the temperature was barely 60 degrees. The shimmer moved between the trees with purpose, not random like atmospheric distortion. "Everyone stay calm," Marcus said quietly, his hand moving instinctively to where his sidearm would have been in the old days. "We're going to slowly move back toward the trail. The trap springs." The shimmer suddenly intensified, and the air itself seemed to ripple. Marcus felt the hair on his arms stand up as static electricity built in the atmosphere. "Run," he shouted, but it was too late. A translucent beam of energy erupted from the distortion, sweeping across the group. Where it touched, people simply vanished, not vaporized, not destroyed, just gone. Marcus dove behind a fallen log as the beam passed overhead, the smell of ozone and something metallic filling his nostrils. The shimmer resolved into a craft unlike anything in human aviation. It was organic-looking, with a hull that seemed to shift and flow like liquid mercury. Appendages extended from its underside, each one moving with predatory grace. Marcus tried to run, but his legs felt heavy, unresponsive. The world began to blur around the edges, and he realized the air itself had been poisoned with some kind of paralytic agent. His last coherent thought before darkness claimed him was a bitter irony: he'd just told his students that overconfidence was the real killer in the wilderness. Welcome to the hunt. Marcus awoke to the sensation of being watched. His military training kicked in immediately: assess the situation, identify threats, find exits. He was in a cell, or what passed for one. The walls were made of some kind of energy field that hummed with power, and beyond them, he could see a vast chamber filled with similar containment units. "You're awake," came a voice from outside his cell. Marcus turned to see a creature that defied easy description. It stood roughly 8 feet tall, with chitinous plates covering its body and 4 arms that ended in claws designed for rending flesh. Its head was elongated, with multiple eyes that tracked his every movement. Human designation, Marcus Rivera, the creature continued, its voice translated through some unseen device. Former military specialist. Current occupation, survival instructor. Ironic, considering your current circumstances. What do you want? Marcus asked, his voice steady despite the situation. The creature's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. Want? We want nothing from you, human. You are not here to be interrogated or studied. You are here to be hunted. Hunted? Indeed. The Kithara have perfected the art of the hunt across 17 different star systems. We collect the most dangerous predators from each world we visit, and we hunt them for sport. You, Marcus Rivera, have been selected as our newest quarry. Marcus felt a cold smile spread across his face. You made one mistake, bug. And what is that, human? You assumed I was the prey. The creature's eyes narrowed. In 23 standard cycles of hunting, no quarry has ever escaped the preserve. You will provide adequate sport for our young hunters to practice upon. We'll see about that, Marcus replied, already beginning to plan. The third rule of survival echoed in his mind, never assume you're the apex predator. But sometimes, he thought, you had to prove it. The Arena Master's warning. The veteran's welcome. 3 days after his capture, Marcus was transported to what the Kithara called the Preparation Facility, a sprawling complex on a jungle planet that served as their hunting preserve. The gravity was slightly heavier than Earth's, and the air carried the scent of alien vegetation and something else he couldn't quite identify. As he was led through corridors lined with energy cells, Marcus counted at least 40 other prisoners from various species. Most cowered in the corners of their containment units, but one figure caught his attention, a woman with steel-gray hair and posture that screamed military command, even in captivity. Fresh meat, she called out as Marcus was pushed into the cell across from hers. Let me guess, they told you that you were selected for your predatory nature? Marcus studied her carefully. Despite the alien prison garb, she carried herself with the bearing of someone accustomed to command. Something like that. And you are? General Patricia Blackwood, United States Marine Corps, retired. Though out here, rank doesn't mean much. She gestured to the scars that crisscrossed her arms and face. Been their guest for about 8 months now. Survived 6 hunts so far. The rules of the game. 6 hunts? Marcus raised an eyebrow. I thought this was a one-time thing. General Blackwood's laugh was harsh. Oh, you sweet summer child. The Kithara don't waste good quarry. If you survive your first hunt, you get promoted to the veteran bracket. More dangerous prey, but also more resources. It's all about the sport for them. She pointed to a section of the facility where the walls were transparent. Through them, Marcus could see lush jungle terrain stretching to the horizon. The preserve covers about 2,000 square kilometers. They've got different zones: jungle, desert, Arctic, ocean. Each hunt gets progressively more challenging. What's their weakness? Marcus asked directly. Straight to business. I like that. Blackwood leaned closer to the energy barrier. They're ambush predators by nature. Fast, strong, and their technology gives them major advantages. But they have 2 critical flaws. The hunter's flaw. First, Blackwood continued, they're overconfident. They've been doing this for decades, and they've never encountered a species that could truly challenge them. They follow patterns, rituals. They announce the beginning of each hunt with ceremonial howls. They always attack from elevated positions. They never deviate from their established tactics. Marcus nodded, filing away the information. And the second flaw? They're not used to prey that fights back effectively. Most species they hunt are either too primitive or too civilized. They've never dealt with military-trained humans who understand asymmetric warfare. Blackwood's eyes glinted with something dangerous. They think they're the apex predator, but they've never faced someone who learned to kill for their country. A low hum filled the air, and the energy barriers flickered. "Feeding time," Blackwood said. "They'll drop nutrient paste through the dispensers. Don't eat it all, save some for later. You'll need the protein." The preparation. As promised, a gray, paste-like substance dropped into Marcus's cell. It tasted like cardboard mixed with vitamins, but he forced himself to eat most of it, wrapping the remainder in a piece of his clothing. "Tell me about the weapons," Marcus said between bites. "They give you basic survival gear, knife, rope, fire starter, water purification tablets. Enough to make it interesting, not enough to make it easy." Blackwood stretched, her movements still precise despite months of captivity. "But here's the thing, this planet is loaded with materials you can use if you know what you're looking for." She pointed through the transparent wall to a cluster of metallic-looking plants. "Those crystalline formations? They're incredibly hard and can be shaped into weapons. The sap from the red trees is highly acidic. The root systems of the larger plants can be woven into snares that even Kithra claws can't cut through. The alliance forms." "Why are you telling me this?" Marcus asked. "Wouldn't it be better for your survival if I failed?" Blackwood's expression grew serious. "Because I'm tired of being their entertainment. I've been planning something for months, but I needed the right partner. Someone with the skills and the mindset to pull it off." "What kind of plan?" "The kind that turns the hunters into the hunted." She glanced around to make sure no Kithra guards were within earshot. "Their technology is impressive, but it's not magic. I've been studying their equipment every chance I get. Their weapons use energy cells that can be overloaded. Their communication devices operate on specific frequencies that can be jammed." Marcus felt a familiar excitement building, the same feeling he'd had before particularly challenging missions. "You're talking about fighting back." "I'm talking about winning." Blackwood leaned back against the wall of her cell. "The next hunt begins in 2 days. They're putting together a group of 6, 3 veterans, 3 newcomers. If we play this right, we can not only survive but take out enough of their hunters to send a message. The training begins." For the next 36 hours, General Blackwood became Marcus's instructor in Kithra tactics and alien planet survival. She taught him to recognize their movement patterns, their preferred attack vectors, and most importantly, how to exploit their ceremonial nature. "They always announce themselves before the final attack," she explained. "It's part of their honor code. They believe a true hunt requires the prey to know death is coming. That's your opening, the moment between their announcement and their strike." She also shared crucial information about the other veterans who would be part of their hunting group. Rodriguez was a demolitions expert before they grabbed him. He survived 3 hunts by using improvised explosives. Thompson was a sniper, she's got the best kill record of any human in the preserve. "If we can coordinate our efforts, we might actually have a chance," Marcus finished. "More than a chance," Blackwood corrected. "We're going to show these alien bastards what happens when Earth's apex predators decide to hunt back." The low hum of transport ships filled the air outside their cells. Soon, they would be taken to the hunting ground, given their basic supplies, and released into the preserve. But for the first time since his capture, Marcus felt something other than anger or fear. He felt ready. The engineer's gambit. The underground sanctuary. The hunt began at dawn, but Marcus and General Blackwood had other plans. Instead of running blindly into the jungle like frightened prey, they followed the coordinates Blackwood had memorized during her previous hunts. Deep in the preserve's industrial section, hidden beneath a cluster of abandoned mining equipment, lay their destination. "Down here," Blackwood whispered, leading Marcus through a concealed entrance that looked like natural rock formation. Someone you need to meet. The passage opened into a surprisingly spacious underground chamber, lit by salvaged alien technology. Workbenches lined the walls, covered with partially assembled devices that seemed to blend human ingenuity with Kithara engineering. At the center of it all stood a man in his 50s, his gray hair wild with excitement as he worked on what looked like a weapon. "Vincent Morrison," the man said without looking up from his work. "But everyone calls me Gears. And you must be the survival instructor Patricia mentioned." Marcus stared at the workshop in amazement. "How long have you been building this?" 14 months, Dr. Morrison replied, finally turning around. His eyes held the intense focus of a man who had found purpose in impossible circumstances. "I was their 23rd victim, back when they first started hunting humans. Mechanical engineering PhD, 30 years in military contract work. They thought they were getting an easy target. The inventor's revenge. Instead, they got someone who could reverse engineer their technology," Blackwood added with satisfaction. "Vincent has been salvaging equipment from every hunt, slowly building an arsenal." Dr. Morrison gestured to his workshop. "The Kithara are advanced, but they're not innovative. Their tech follows predictable patterns. Once you understand their energy matrices and molecular bonding techniques, you can adapt their tools for human use." He picked up a weapon that looked like a crossbow had been mated with a lightning rod. "This beauty can fire their own energy bolts back at them. I've also got sonic disruptors, electromagnetic pulse grenades, and something special I've been saving for just the right moment." "What's the special something?" Marcus asked. Morrison's grin was slightly unhinged. "A virus. Not biological, digital. I've been studying their communication networks for months. Their entire hunting operation relies on centralized coordination. If I can introduce the right kind of chaos into their system, you can blind them," Marcus finished. "Turn their own technology against them." "Exactly. But I need to get close to one of their command nodes to upload it. That's where you two come in." The plan takes shape. General Blackwood spread out a hand-drawn map on one of the workbenches. The hunting party consists of 5 Kithara and 6 humans. The aliens always maintain overwatch from elevated positions while sending smaller groups to flush out the prey. "There's a command post here," she pointed to a marked location, about 3 kilometers from the starting point. "The other humans?" Marcus asked. "Rodriguez, Thompson, and 3 newcomers like you," Blackwood replied. "Rodriguez and Thompson are solid, they'll follow orders if they think it'll get them out of here alive. The newcomers are wild cards, but if we can keep them alive long enough, they might prove useful." Dr. Morrison handed Marcus a compact device that looked like a modified tablet. "This is a scanner I built from their surveillance equipment. It can detect their energy signatures from about half a kilometer away. It'll also show you safe paths through their sensor nets. And this," he added, offering what appeared to be a vest made from metallic mesh, "is armor. It won't stop a direct hit from their weapons, but it'll disperse the energy enough to keep you breathing." The hunter becomes hunted. 20 minutes later, Marcus was moving through the jungle with purpose. The scanner Dr. Morrison had given him showed 3 Kithara signatures converging on his position, exactly as planned. General Blackwood was approaching the command post from the east, while Dr. Morrison prepared to upload his virus the moment they created enough chaos. Marcus found his position, a small clearing with good sight lines and multiple escape routes. He activated the sonic disruptor Morrison had given him, a device that would interfere with Kithara communication frequencies. Immediately, he could hear their confusion as their coordinated hunting patterns broke down. The first alien appeared at the edge of the clearing, its 4 arms moving in the predatory stance Blackwood had described. It was magnificent in its own way, a perfect killing machine shaped by evolution and enhanced by technology. "Human," it announced in its translated voice, "you have provided adequate sport. Your death will be swift and honorable." Marcus smiled coldly. "That's where you're wrong, Bug. I'm not the one who's going to die today. The trap springs. The Kithra's confidence wavered for just a moment, long enough for Marcus to trigger the improvised explosive device he'd planted while setting up his position. The blast wasn't meant to kill the alien, but to disorient it and destroy its equipment. As the creature staggered, Marcus fired the energy weapon Morrison had built. The bolt caught the Kithra center mass, and it collapsed with a sound like breaking glass. One down. His scanner showed the other two aliens approaching fast, their movement patterns erratic without their communication network. Marcus grabbed the fallen hunter's weapon and equipment, then melted back into the jungle. The second encounter lasted less than 30 seconds. The Kithra, expecting to find a cowering human, instead walked into a snare made from the crystalline plant fibers Blackwood had described. As it struggled to free itself, Marcus put 2 energy bolts through its head. The third alien was more cautious, but that worked against it. Marcus had learned their patterns, understood their instincts. When it finally made its move, he was ready. The network falls. As Marcus secured the clearing, his communicator crackled to life. Dr. Morrison's voice, tight with excitement, "I'm in their system. Uploading the virus now." Across the preserve, Kithra technology began to fail. Communication networks crashed, surveillance systems went dark, and automated defenses shut down. For the first time in decades, the hunters were blind. General Blackwood's voice came through clearly, "Command post is secured. I count at least 12 more Kithra in the area, but they're running scared. Whatever you did, Vincent, it worked." Marcus looked at the 3 dead aliens around him and felt a grim satisfaction. "This is just the beginning," he said into his communicator. "Time to show these bastards what happens when you hunt humans for sport." The game had changed. The predators were about to become the prey. The strategists counterattack. The master tactician arrives. The Kithra's panic was palpable as their technology continued to fail across the preserve. In their confusion, they made a crucial mistake. They activated their emergency protocols and summoned their most experienced prey handler from the orbital command ship. What they got instead was Colonel James Sterling, a man who had spent 30 years turning impossible military situations into victories. Well, Sterling said as he materialized in the preserve's central hub, having been teleported down from the prison ship. "Looks like someone's been having fun without me." The Kithra guard that had brought him down clicked its mandibles nervously. "Human designation Sterling. You are being deployed to assist in recapturing escaped prey. Your survival record makes you valuable for." "Let me stop you right there, Bug." Sterling's voice carried the authority of someone who had commanded thousands of soldiers in combat. "I've been listening to your communications breakdown from up there. Sounds like my people have been giving you trouble." The alien's multiple eyes focused on him with growing unease. "You will assist in their recapture, or face immediate termination." Sterling laughed, a sound completely devoid of humor. "Terminate me? Friend, I've been planning for this moment since you grabbed me off that transport ship 6 months ago. You just made the biggest tactical error of your species' existence." The network expands. Within minutes of Sterling's arrival, he had established contact with the other humans using the communication system Dr. Morrison had jury-rigged from captured Kithra equipment. The colonel's voice was steady and confident as he addressed the scattered survivors. "This is Colonel Sterling, taking command of this operation. Sound off, people. General Blackwood, Eastern Sector. I've got the command post secured and 3 more Kithra down. Dr. Morrison, underground facility. Virus is holding strong, but they're trying to implement workarounds. Marcus Rivera, Jungle Sector. 3 confirmed kills, moving toward the secondary objective. Rodriguez here, demolition specialist. Got my hands on enough of their explosives to level a city block. Thompson, sniper position. I've got overwatch on the main transport area. Counting at least 20 more hostiles." Sterling processed the information quickly. Outstanding work, people. Now we're going to finish what we started. The strategic masterstroke. Listen carefully, Sterling continued, his voice taking on the tone of a seasoned battlefield commander. We're not just fighting for survival anymore. We're fighting to send a message to every alien species in this galaxy: humans are not prey. He outlined his plan with military precision. Blackwood, hold that command post. It's our anchor point. Morrison, I need you to push that virus deeper into their systems. Target their orbital platforms if you can. Rodriguez, I want you to mine every major transit route on this preserve. Thompson, you're our eyes and ears. I need real-time intelligence on their movement patterns. Rivera, you're with me. We're going to take the fight directly to their leadership. What about the other humans? Marcus asked over the comm. The newcomers are with Rodriguez. If they can follow orders, they might live through this. If not. Sterling's voice hardened. This is war, people. We do what we have to do. The assault begins. Sterling's plan was audacious in its simplicity. Instead of continuing to play the role of hunted prey, they would launch a coordinated assault on the Kythera's command structure. The aliens, used to dealing with scattered, terrified victims, were completely unprepared for organized military tactics. The colonel had somehow acquired not just weapons, but intelligence about the preserve's layout and the aliens' operational procedures. Spent 6 months pretending to be a broken old soldier, he explained to Marcus as they moved through the jungle toward the main facility. Amazing what you can learn when your captors think you're harmless. Their first target was the communication relay that connected the preserve to the orbital command ship. Sterling moved with the fluid precision of someone who had spent decades in combat zones, while Marcus provided cover and watched for threats. There, Sterling pointed to a structure that looked like a metallic tree growing from the jungle floor. That's their primary uplink. Take it down, and they can't call for reinforcements. The assault was swift and brutal. The Kythera guards, still reeling from the failure of their technology, offered minimal resistance. Sterling's tactics were textbook: distract, flank, eliminate. Within minutes, the relay was destroyed. The hunters become hunted. Across the preserve, the tide of battle turned decisively. General Blackwood, using the command post's surveillance systems, coordinated strikes on isolated Kythera positions. Rodriguez's explosives turned the aliens' own infrastructure against them, while Thompson's sniper fire kept them pinned down and desperate. Dr. Morrison's virus had done more than just disable their technology, it had exposed their troop movements and strategic plans. For the first time in their species' history, the Kythera were fighting a technologically inferior enemy that somehow knew their every move. "This is impossible," one of the surviving Kythera commanders transmitted on an emergency frequency. "These humans fight like they were bred for war." "Because we were," Sterling replied, having intercepted the transmission. "Not by design, but by necessity. Every human you see here survived Earth's bloodiest conflicts. We didn't just learn to fight, we learned to win." The colonel's voice carried across all frequencies as he continued his psychological warfare. "You made the mistake of thinking we were just another primitive species. You were wrong. We're the apex predators of a death world, and we've been perfecting the art of killing for 10,000 years. The final gambit." As the sun set over the preserve, Sterling prepared for the final phase of his plan. The Kythera had been reduced to a handful of survivors, trapped in their primary facility with no way to communicate with their orbital forces. "This is it, people," Sterling announced to his team. "We've broken their hunting operation, but that's not enough. We need to make sure they never try this again." Marcus understood immediately. "You want to take their ship?" "Exactly. That orbital platform is their mobile base of operations. If we can capture it, we can not only get home but also send a message to every species in this sector. Earth is not to be messed with." The plan was insane, but it was also their only chance at true victory. Using the preserve's own transportation system, they would assault the orbital platform while the Kithra were still reeling from their losses. As they prepared for the final assault, Sterling looked at his small team of survivors. "I want you all to know something. What we've accomplished here today changes everything. We've proven that humanity doesn't just survive, we conquer." The stars above them held an alien ship full of their former captors, and somehow, that felt like exactly where they belonged.